Welcome to the Wrexham Coffee Matchup. I'm Dave.
And I'm Courtney. Each week, we'll take a few minutes to catch up on the latest news from Wrexham. From matchups to transfers, on and off the pitch, we'll share our takes on it all.
So grab a coffee and join us.
Hey, Dave, here we are.
Here we are.
Back again.
Another super busy week. A lot has been going on. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing?
Yeah, doing well. I'm really looking forward to getting into what we've been doing the last couple weeks, but there are a couple of updates with the players, I think.
Yeah, so the most exciting one for both of us is that Ollie Watch 2.0 is over. I think we can officially put a nail in the Ollie Watch coffin for this season, hopefully. But Ollie Rathbone, after having been on the bench the previous match, actually started against Cardiff City, which was really exciting to see. And he put in a nice solid 45 minutes on his first time back. I mean, when you stop and think about it, was back in July that he injured himself in Australia. And so that is a long chunk of time to miss out. I mean, 12 matches of the season, several cup games. So it was really good to see him back. And I hope he's back to his Energizer Bunny Zoom very quickly with the team. So
I didn't realize it was all the way back in July that he was injured. That's a really serious injury.
Yeah, so I think it was an ankle injury. I mean, we knew when we saw him on crutches during the Australia-New Zealand tour that something was definitely up. But other news and injury, we have new injuries we found out about this past week. One is that we found out that Elliot Lee is having a knee surgery. So even though we haven't seen him yet put in any championship minutes, looks like the chance to do that is further delayed out. Hopefully he has a quick recovery and hopefully we do get to see him back this season. I saw some mumblings of people wondering if maybe that's the last we'll see of him, depending on his recovery.
I was just going to say, do you think that's part of why we haven't seen more of him because he had some knee issues, or is this a new injury? Do you know any details
I think
there?
I'm guessing it's been some ongoing, right?
Yeah.
But it was just disappointing. And I think when we didn't see him in the lineup against Cardiff City, because he played the previous cup matches, that we knew that something was definitely up. And so we just wish the best for Elliot because he's still an amazing player and we'd like to see him get back and make an impact on the team.
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
the other injury that we saw recently, we actually watched it happen during one of the matches, was that Lewis Brunt injured his thigh and he had thigh surgery, which that must have been, I mean, I've injured my legs before, but never to the point where you needed a thigh surgery. So that must have been a really brutal injury. And they said he'll be out for at least 12 weeks. So
wow.
Yeah. So that takes us into like midwinter. Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say that takes us into spring, but yeah, midwinter is probably the better word for it.
I was doing a really quick mental calculation of the calendar, which I'm not very great at. And so I think we're in the February window before we start to see him training again.
Even though I have lived in Switzerland for almost 13 years, I think I still have Los Angeles seasons in my mind. So winter is the, 5 weeks between the last week in December and then January and then
it's spring.
Winter.
So first match we had is the Cardiff City match, the Carabao Cup fourth. And it was
fourth round,
and I'm just stumbling here because such a disappointing match to watch. But I will say that this was the first match this season that I was able to sit in a room with other human beings in real time and watch with them. So instead of just being online with my blue sky and my texts, two of my coworkers who are both avid Wrexham fans were able to sit and watch with me on Paramount Plus, and sort of it's kind of fun analyzing the match in real time and sort of reacting and answering questions because I kind of knew who everybody was and they didn't know who all the players were. But it was fun to watch it in that context. I just wish that we had played better. But I think one point that people forgot on this match is, there's sort of this perception, and we kind of talked about this before, is that you're coming into a cup match against a lower league team. You automatically assume that you have the advantage, right? And I think it's important to remember that Cardiff was in the championship last year.
Yeah.
They were just relegated at the end of last season, and they're currently sitting in first place of League
Yeah.
One. So they're
Solidly.
well up, solidly in first place. And so that's not to say that they're a League One team. They're just
Hmm.
a championship quality team in League One at the moment. And I
Absolutely.
and I think that they came out and showed a championship performance. Whereas I don't even know how to describe it. Maybe you could try to describe it. It just seemed like we were lost and scrambling from the
Hmm.
beginning.
Well, they had a championship performance. We had a performance. We played a game. We played 90 minutes. Actually, I wouldn't
And
even say that. We were on the field for 90 minutes.
so, I mean, we did see some substitutions at halftime, and then again at 60
Yeah,
minutes, again at 80 minutes. And the energy in the second half did pick
it did.
up. And I think that we had some opportunities. A really nice goal by Kieffer Moore. But we just weren't able to convert the chances. But I just felt like it was like some of those early matches where we were frustrated, where
Hmm.
we just didn't know each other as a squad. And coming off of that really strong performance the previous Saturday, it's like, wait a second, we've seen what we can do, and we didn't build on that. It's almost like we just took a bye week, and then we kind of like bide our time until the next match on Friday. I don't know. So what did you think?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, one of my first observations, of course, was that Cardiff City does not play like a League One team. And I was thinking about it, there are so many reasons that a team could be relegated. At the end of the day, it's points. And I was looking at the championship table a couple of days ago. Sheffield Wednesday actually has negative points, right? So you can have things like the word is probably not sanctions, but I can't think of another word right now.
Yes, I
Against
think
you,
they were sanctioned. Yeah.
because of of things like that. And of course, it also has to do with your performance at the end of the day. But it's your performance relative to everyone else. It's a lot of other things that are going on. They played and have been playing like a championship team. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think my biggest disappointment, I don't remember if it was George Thomason, but there was a not great pass or attempted pass that led to a Cardiff goal.
Mhm.
And that, I don't know, you could just feel like the frustration. You could feel I don't know. I totally agree. We had a different team the second half, but we just got outplayed.
Right.
We just got outplayed.
Well, I'd say that unfortunately, we are not going on to the quarterfinals, which we had both hoped that we would do, because it would have been
Yeah.
only the third time ever. But at least now we could focus our energies. We still have the FA Cup coming. We start the third round in January. That's when we enter that competition. But then we do have
Okay, we
a
haven't
big.
played 2 rounds already, and I just missed it.
No. Actually,
Okay.
the first round, it was last week or this week, and
Okay.
we don't enter until the third round because we're in the championship now.
Got it. Okay.
So that'll be sometime in mid-January when those matches start to happen. But we have a big chunk of the season left in the championship. We still have 34 more matches to play. So let's fast forward our brains to Friday and the Coventry match.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna set the scene for you a little bit.
Okay.
In the morning on Friday, I got my stitch out from my sweet
Okay.
potato cutting injury. And while I was there at the doctor's office, he convinced me to get a flu shot. I was going to come back later. He said, no, just stay, get it done, get it over with now. I got the flu shot. I got the COVID shot. And later that evening, so that was about 9:00 in the morning. After work, we were driving to Italy. I started listening to the match. We were going in and out of service as we were driving because, cell towers, geography, all of those things. We get to our final destination. It's the end of the first half, and I'm laying down with my toddler to get him back down to sleep. On the arm where I got 2 vaccines, he's like rolling this way and rolling that way. My arm is in so much pain. I'm shaking because I'm starting to get a fever from the vaccines, and I see the first goal to equalize from Kieffer Moore. I was like, whoa, cool. And I'm listening and I'm watching, and then there's the second goal. And I was looking at blue sky, and someone said, guys, we really need to pay attention because this is where Coventry are going to kick it up. And we brought it. Kieffer Moore scored that third goal, and I thought, am I having a fever dream? Is this reality? That was incredible. We made so many chances. We made so much space for opportunities. We could have scored more than 3 goals. Now, they could have also scored more than 2. We were just fantastic all around.
Yeah, I'd say from top to bottom, there was not a weak person on that field. And they did get that second goal late in the second half, but we just stepped up the defense. We just kept the attack on, and just didn't let them get an opportunity for a third one to equalize. The team that I thought that the team that showed up, they were determined. They were focused. And like you said, they just attacked from the beginning of the match all the way until the end of the match. Yeah. I mean, it's possible that we could have set the tone a little bit earlier in the first half. O'Brien did have a pretty wide open opportunity on the goal, and then he didn't take the shot. I thought it looked like sort of a software glitch where he rushed up and didn't quite know what to do. And it's happened to him several times before. Yeah. This is not the first time we've seen this. And also it's an issue that Ryan Hardy had earlier in the season, so that they make the fast break and then they pause when they should just follow through. And so that was a little frustrating, but I mean, you cannot say a negative thing about the Moore Windass combination, because not only did Moore get all 3 goals, but they were all Windass assists. So it was Windass sets it up, Moore knocks it in. Windass sets it up, Moore knocks it in. It was just a beautiful, fun thing to watch. And I haven't felt that excited since probably the Charlton match last season when we secured our promotion. It was just that level of just energy and enthusiasm, and just every member of the team just seemed to carry it, right?
And I will eat my words for my Sam Smith comments. Still love him, but I don't want to mess with this.
No. We could talk for a brief second. So we had both said, when is Sam Smith going to start last week? And then he did on Tuesday. And then I don't blame Tuesday on Sam Smith, because he still came in. When he did come in, he came in on fire again. So he's getting his role. And I think his role is his determined energy for a shorter period of time. Maybe we just both would hope that he would come in sooner than 85 minutes. Maybe 75 minutes. Just give a little bit more space in there for him to make a difference.
70 minutes.
Yeah. 70 minutes even, yes.
But it depends on the match, right?
It does. But this was Coventry's first loss of the season.
And squarely handed to them. This was not like we barely eked out a win.
No, this was a solid win from us. But there's 2 things here that I wanted to say. One is that it was very obvious from watching the match, and I watched the first half on iFollow, and then I had issues with my internet, so that I switched over to Paramount Plus. But from the beginning of the match to the end, it was quite obvious that the crowd was just on fire, right? The energy and enthusiasm in the race course was on par with some of the most exciting matches we've even seen back in the National League days, right? And so I think that, there is that talk of the 12th man and the role that the crowd plays in encouraging the players. And I think it is a two-way street. Like, they need to be reacting to positivity, but they just bring so much more energy when they're with it as well. And so I think we really had that case where the race course was the 12th man on Friday. And it really, I think, helped push us over the top. Yeah. But there's the other thing, is that I learned something new. I'm learning something new almost every week in the championship. Okay. This was the first time I had heard of a perfect hat trick.
Yep.
Not just a hat trick.
Okay, so tell me.
So perfect hat trick is when you make 1 goal off your right foot, 1 goal off your left foot, and the 3rd goal off your header.
Off your hair.
Header.
Oh, I thought you said off your hair.
Well, I almost referred to it as his headband trick because instead of a hat trick, he wears his headband. But
Yeah,
but that was something new to learn, and I think he was very proud of the fact that he had accomplished that. I did see a little
absolutely.
post interview. I don't know if it was an interview or an article after the fact, and they asked him what he was going to do to celebrate, and he said, "Well, I have a 1-year-old at home, and so what I'd love to do is have a nice
Oh.
glass of red wine and then ask my wife if I could sleep through the night." She said, "But I think the answer is no." So I thought you would
That's funny
appreciate that.
and also true. So now kind of looking back at the week and putting things in perspective, there was someone on Blue Sky who I don't know I remember the handle, but they write the name as Rathbone's warming blanket. I don't know her name, but she said something to the effect that we're giant killers. So this was before the match. We're giant killers. Just remember that. And that stuck through my head the whole match. But especially in the second half. And it really got me thinking about this huge dichotomy in how we played this week between a team that's ranked, yes, at the top, but of a league that's a division below us versus the number one team in our own division. What is it about playing teams ranked higher than we are? Are we really giant killers? What are your thoughts there?
I think it's not that. I love the concept. I think it's that it goes to the underlying motivations, right?
Hmm.
So it's like when you're looking at your schedule, and I think this is a mistake. We've found that this is a mistake, but you look at sort of the teams that are ranked below you and you think, okay, we've got something on them, right?
Yep.
So let's just go in, we'll play the match. Looks good. We should be able to take them. Not a problem, right? And then you look at the people who are ranked, first, second, fourth, fifth, sixth on the table, and you think, oh, we're going to have to bring something extra just to
Hmm.
show them that we belong here, right?
Hmm.
And so I think it's that when you summon up that we need to bring something extra, I think it brings a level of determination and want to the match that the players just step it up a bit. And maybe we should be looking at, I mean, maybe they're telling them to look at every match the same, but I think that knowing my personality, knowing your personality, like you want to win against the big guys, right?
Hmm.
It's like that makes you look like you still belong. And, we were still floating down around 16, 17, 18th in the table. And we want to be up higher. We want to be in the upper half. We want to be looking towards those playoff positions, just because that's something we should achieve and try to go for every season, whether we can make it or not, right? And so
Hmm.
I think what I'm trying to say is just like you see the big dogs, and you want to show, hey, we can play against them. Let's show what we've got. And now
Hmm.
that they're starting to prove themselves against these bigger teams. I mean, even Millwall earlier in the season, they're still like pretty high ranked. We put in a strong performance against them. Let's just keep doing that and try to build on it every time so that then we become the Giants eventually. I think
Hmm.
that's that's how I look at it. So
Okay.
what do you think? What do you think?
I really don't know. I mean, I think there's something to it. I think there is, if you kind of look at the history, there certainly is that story that's there. Um, I think in this particular week, there was also some other influences, like who was playing,
Mhm.
right? Obviously, that's going to make a really big impact. And I don't think, I mean, this is to say nothing negative about any of the players, and this is also me speaking as someone with no experience as player, as a coach. But
That's why we're here. That's why we're
it
here.
was exactly this was not our typical starting lineup, right? And it's not the people that we would have thought would make the biggest impact. So when I saw the starting lineup, I thought, oh, that's kind of interesting in a way, because it didn't feel like we were putting out the team that maybe had the highest chance of success. maybe it was, again, this perception. Maybe it was, well, we have a league match on Friday. But at the same time, remember, this is a huge, like, North versus South Wales, clash. So I don't know. I think I still like the story. I like the imagery of giant killers, of David and Goliath. Um, I think there's probably a little more to it, though.
It's something we'll keep an eye on as we go forward in the season, right? Because we're going
And
to
I
meet
think
everybody
we've
again. Yeah.
and I think we've got a good opportunity to show these two situations in the next two matches, because we've got another week where we'll have
With
two
two.
matches before our next episode.
Right. So on Wednesday, November 5th, we're away against Portsmouth. So Portsmouth, which is a good 4.5 to 5 hour drive from Wrexham. So long haul for a weekday. So I don't think we'll be taking a lot of local fans down to Portsmouth for this match. But hopefully some of the fans from Southern England who are Wrexham fans will kind of make their way down. Portsmouth is currently 20th in the table. They've lost their last 3 matches, and I think their last win was 6 or 7 matches ago.
Okay.
And their losses included a really, really tough 4-0 loss against Birmingham last Saturday.
Yeah.
But this will be the first time that we're meeting Portsmouth in 39 years. And
Okay.
then our last league matchup against them was in 1983. So it's been quite a while since we've met them in the league setting. But there's a little funny something when I was doing my research. So you know how they make the joke sarcastically or whatever,
Or not.
social media or not, where people refer to Wrexham as Disney FC.
Yeah.
And because in the UK, the documentary is on Disney Plus, and around the world, except for in the US, it's on Disney Plus. And so they kind of make the joke that it's the corporate team, right? Even though
Right.
Disney does not own Wrexham, there's no ties between, other than the documentary, there's no ties financially between Disney and the team. But Portsmouth could be called the true Disney FC, because I found out that since 2017, the team has been owned by Michael Eisner. And Michael Eisner was the chairman of Disney for like 25 years. And when he retired, he took his money from the Disney thing and started to invest in sports.
Okay.
And so it's kind of interesting, and like no one's really picked up on this, is that it'll be Disney FC versus Disney FC. I'm not sure.
All right. Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
I almost said, Minnie versus Mickey. Mickey versus
And-
Donald.
Yes. Well, we don't have to get into our Disney fights.
Okay, so that's
that'll-
Wednesday.
That's Wednesday. And then on Saturday, we're back at home at the race course, and we're back against Charlton. So Charlton is currently in 8th place. They're having a really strong start to the season. They've only had 3 losses to date. They were promoted last season, as we know, from League One.
Yep.
They finished 4th in the table last season, and then they won the playoffs at Wembley, which ironically I was able to attend, which was one of the most exciting football matches I've ever been to in my life. Even more exciting possibly than some of the Wrexham matches that I've been to, dare I say.
Gasp.
But it's just that feeling of being in Wembley.
Yeah.
And it was 2 London teams, so 2 local teams at Wembley, probably 80,000 people in the stands.
Wow.
The energy was just insane. The shooting flames every time there was a goal. It was just a very
Something
exciting experience, something very different to watch. But interestingly, so I was looking into it, and so Charlton's had a really tough few years, right? So they went through 4 different ownerships in about a 4-year window. And the most recent owners took over in 2023. And then after the new owners took over, then they've gone through a series of manager changes. So it took them until about February 2024 before they found their current manager, Nathan Jones. And that's when they really started to solidify the team. And seeing how they played at the end of last season and then going into how they're starting this season, that team is really coming together. And I think they're overperforming what people expected. Hence their really high up position in the table. But the last time that we played Charlton was at the racecourse back in April. And that was the day that we sealed our back-to-back promotion with the 3-0 victory. So I think they're coming to look for a little revenge.
Yeah.
And I think that we shouldn't underestimate them at all with what we put out on the field, and should kind of attack that match like we did this week on Friday.
Definitely. And that's something else that you and I were talking about this week, just taking a look at where we sit now in the table. I think we're 15th. But that middle of the table, there are 10 teams that are separated by 3 points.
Yes. This is crunch time of
so
the season. Yeah.
We are really, okay, it's 15, but that could be, plus or minus. There's
Right.
really not that much that's separating all these teams. So I think we're really going to have an important couple of weeks.
Right. And after this week's 2 matches, then we go on to the next international break.
Mhm.
So we'll have a sense of sort of what the first third of the season looks like at that
Yeah.
window. And then we regroup sort of at the middle to the end of November and go through the next string of matches. And I don't think there's another international breaking until March. So we'll get a nice solid set of regular matches at that point. So.
And let's hope that our return after this international break is not like the lackluster, sorry boys, one that we had for the last international break.
Yes, we'll save those hopes for a couple weeks from now. So
yeah. Good. Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks for joining us this week. Please like, comment, and subscribe.
You can also email us at wxmcoffeematchup@gmail.com. All one word, that's wxmcoffeematchup@gmail.com. Or you can follow us on Instagram and Blue Sky at wxmcoffeematchup.
From the cop to your coffee cup, that's all for today's Wrexham Coffee Matchup. Keep it brewing, keep it red, and as always, up the town.